Hey everyone, welcome back. I have another Dollar Tree Halloween DIY video for you guys today with 5 brand new DIYs. If you're new here and you like home decor and DIYs on a budget, stick around by hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell for notifications so you never miss out on a new video. All right, let's get into these Halloween DIYs. For this DIY, I'm going to use an old paint can, and it's filled with just dried up paint. So it was easy to just pull that out, and then I just took off the label of the paint can, and then around the inside it really didn't matter what that looked like, and I spray painted everything with some yellow spray paint, and then I used my Cricut and I printed out some biohazard label, and I created a free printable, so I'll leave that linked down below. I did the biohazard letters one by one just so that way the paint didn't peel off if I use the transfer tape, if that makes sense. So I just did it one by one. It didn't take but like 2 seconds to do that. And if you don't have a Cricut, you could definitely draw this on with paint or a marker and it would still look awesome. And then I'm going to take one of these glow-in-the-dark skeletons from Dollar Tree. I just cut the hanger off the top of the head. I'm going to use a drill and I'm just going to drill into the side of each of the paint can, and I'm going to drill a hole through the skeleton's hands as well. And then I'm going to use a glow stick. These are the glow stick necklaces from Dollar Tree. I used the green color, and then I'm going to drill a hole in the top of the skeleton's mouth, and I'm just going to go ahead and take that glow stick. I'm going to break it so that way it glows, and then I drilled a hole in the back of the skeleton's head. I made it just a little bit bigger so that way you could pull that glow stick through its mouth and through the back of the head, and then I put another hole in the back of his spine so that way I could stick the glow stick down in the back of his spine, and that way he looks like it's either a straw and he's drinking out of the biohazard can, or he's throwing up, one or the other. Just depends on how you look at it, I guess. And then you can also just replace that glow stick when it runs out easily. Just pull it out and then put another one in. And then I attach the hands to the side of the can just with a little floral wire. And then I wanted the inside of my can to glow and then also have some mist coming out. So I used this cauldron mister from Dollar Tree. I just took out the plug in the back of it, and then I put the mister in the bottom of the can, and then in the back of the can on the outside I drilled a hole so that way I could feed that plug into the mister, and then that way the can could be misting. The last thing I added to this DIY is some bright green silly string, and this is perfect to add around the biohazard can so that way it looks like it is spewing some just waste and it's glowing and it looks really awesome in the dark. I love how this turned out. It's really spooky for Halloween, and the skeleton glows, the glow stick glows, and then the glow from the mister. It just made everything perfect. Next up, I'm going to use this little ghost from Dollar Tree. I actually had a different one that had a cute little orange and checkered bow on its hat for this year that I found, but my dog stole the ghost and tore the whole thing up. So I'm using this one from my stash, and the DIY still turned out cute with it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm using that cone as a body for my ghost. I just attached it to the head. I put a skewer in the cone and attached the skewer to the head so that way my ghost had a body. And then I did take out the legs from the head and I pushed them into the bottom of the cone and used a little hot glue to secure them so that way the legs of the ghost dangled below the little sheet. And then since I don't have a cute bow for this ghost, I found in my stash this little glittery plastic bow from Dollar Tree last year, and I just hot glued it to the hat. Now my ghost is going to be sitting on a swing, so I'm going to use this hanging wall shelf from Dollar Tree as my swing. I just stained it with some stain that I had, and after it was dry, I used some twine and made the ropes for my swing on each side. I just tied them at the bottom. I made sure that they were hanging the same level so my swing would be level. I secured the ropes at the bottom with a little bit of hot glue as well, just to make sure everything was secure. And then all I had to do was glue my ghost to my swing. So I just put a little hot glue on the bottom of that cone and hot glued it onto the swing, and then I hot glued the little sheet onto the ropes just to look like it was holding it. And I think this turned out really cute. It would be cute hanging in a window. You could hang it outside, but if it's not really windy. And I think it looks really adorable for Halloween. For this DIY, I'm going to use a plunger from Dollar Tree. It's a new one. All I'm going to do is stain the wooden handle of the plunger. And then for the bottom of it, I want to make sure that it doesn't collapse in on itself. So I'm using this little piece of styrofoam from Dollar Tree and just hot gluing it inside the bottom of that plunger. Now I'm going to be making a witch's broom out of this plunger. So I just used some nautical rope and I folded it over onto itself and then cut the loops at the bottom. And I did this with 6 packs of nautical rope, and then I put them all together and then tied them at the top with some twine, so that way they would hang over that bottom part of the plunger. And once that was done, then I went ahead and unraveled each piece of the nautical rope so that way it would be fuller and it would look more like a witch's broom, and also so that way it would cover up more of that black part at the bottom there. So I went ahead and did that, and once that was complete, I moved that aside and I'm going to work on this hanging witch that I got at Dollar Tree. Now her face is just so plain and there's no detail, so I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of acrylic paint to add some detail to her face. I just used some black paint to highlight the wrinkles in her face, and I kind of like wiped it away so that way it wouldn't be too dramatic. And then I used some yellow to fill in her eyes, and then she had a little wart on her nose, so I colored that with some brown, and then I filled in the inside of her mouth with some black to give it some more dimension. And then I did use some red to make some little lips onto the witch, and then also used some white paint to go ahead and paint her teeth that are on the inside of her mouth. And then I wanted to go ahead and give her some actual eyes, so I used some black paint to do the pupils of her eyes. And then to do the inside of her eyes, I did take a little bit of white paint and dip the bottom of my brush in that to make the eyes. So she looks a little bit more realistic, it looks a little bit more high-end. I wanted to go ahead and add some hair for this witch. So I took some orange yarn that I had from Dollar Tree a while back, and I just wrapped it around my hand a few times, and then I cut those loops, and then I hot glued those pieces to each side of her head, just pulled back the hood and then hot glued those down. I did go ahead and make some bangs for the top as well. I just did the same thing, but just cut them a little bit smaller and trimmed them up so that way they looked cute, I guess. I found this witch's hat in my stash. It was from Dollar Tree a while back. So I went ahead and put some hot glue around it and just hot glued it to the top of her head. Ideally, I'd like to have a bigger hat, but I think this worked out and it still looks cute. Next, I'm going to use some of these hands from Dollar Tree, just a couple of them, and I'm going to paint them green because she doesn't have any hands. So I mixed a little bit of lime green and a darker green to try to get close to the same color of her face. And then I also painted her fingernails with some red spray paint. Now I'm just going to go back to the witch's broom, and at the top of the handle, I'm going to go ahead and drill a tiny hole, and then I'm going to take the arm of the witch, which it has wire in it that you can move around, and the end of the wire sticks out just enough so you can push that into the hole that I drilled. I did use a little bit of hot glue on that wire just to make sure that it held inside that hole. And then I'm going to take my hands that I painted and I'm going to go ahead and hot glue those to my witch. Now I have a hovering witch. She's pretty cool. I put a fan on very low speed blowing into her so that way she looks like she's just blowing in the wind. I definitely wouldn't put her outside in strong winds, but she looks cool with the fan on her and I think she's pretty awesome. For this DIY, I'm going to use one of these black canvases from Dollar Tree, and then I have a big container of this all-purpose joint compound. But you can get smaller containers at the hardware store, or you can even get a little container at Dollar Tree. And I just put it in a plastic baggie and cut the tip off. And then I'm going to put a dollop down and use the back of a plastic spoon and just gently push down and drag the spoon out. And I'm going to do that all across the board, all the way down the canvas. And this is going to give me a ghost effect. I have seen this, I think on TikTok is where I saw it at, and somebody did it with a bigger canvas, and I just think it is such a cute idea. I love how it looks. And I'm going to go ahead, I let it dry overnight, and then I'm going to give my ghost some eyes the next day. I just use the back of a paintbrush and I'm dipping that in some black acrylic paint and then just dotting the eyes onto the ghosts. I think they are super cute like this. Now my joint compound did crack a little bit overnight. It wasn't big, like it didn't crumble off of the canvas or anything. There's just little cracks in my ghosts. So I don't know how long this painting will last year after year. I might try to spray it with some sort of sealant or something to help it last a little bit longer. But I do think it is such a cute idea, and doing it on a smaller scale to test it out to see how it would look and how it would hold up, I think is a great idea. I think it's perfect for this Halloween to display and looks really cute. For this last DIY, it's super simple. I'm just going to take 2 of these flour sack towels from Dollar Tree. I unfolded them and then I'm just going to hot glue them along the seams there. Hot glue works perfectly for this project. You don't need to sew it, but if you wanted to sew it, you definitely could. Now I did see this DIY again, I believe on TikTok, with various other items being used, and you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. Mine is kind of on the medium scale for this DIY, but it works out the same with all Dollar Tree products. And then I'm going to use 2 of these wire waste baskets from Dollar Tree, and they do have to be white because you'll be able to see through this in the end, so you want it to be white waste baskets. I just zip tied the the tops of them together, and then at the new top of the waste baskets, I'm going to zip tie one of these baskets at the top there. And then I took my flour sack towel and I just put some felt eyes so that it looks like a ghost. I just hot glued those on, and then I put it over my baskets, and then for the top there I just put some candy inside to hold it all, so that way I have a ghost candy dish. I think this is such a cute DIY for Halloween, and it's tall enough to sit on the floor or short enough to even sit on the table. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed these Halloween DIYs. Leave me a ghost emoji down below if you got to the end of this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.